The Biden map is the evolution of the Aegean plan and is in the final stages of implementation. It has to do with the oil and gas in the Eastern Mediterranean Sea, outside of Israel, above Egypt, under Turkey, around Cyprus, and of course the islands of the Aegean Sea of Greece. The so-called Aegean Plan of the American former Secretary of State, 1949 to 1953, Dean Acheson, also known as Double Enosis, envisaged the partition and integration of most of Cyprus into Greece, except for Carpathia, which would take Turkish military base. The latter, as the additional consideration, would also receive the Megastis complex with a long-term lease. And it's important to clarify that Acheson did not propose a specific American plan, even though it's commonly called that. In essence, it was a series of exploratory proposals, always under the supervision of the Foreign Office, and started with the aforementioned one, which Archbishop Macarius of Cyprus rejected. The Acheson counter proposed that Turkey keep Carpathia for only 50 years, but Ankara rejected the new proposal. And in the book, researcher and journalist Fanula Argiriou, Dizoniki versus Democracy in 2019 states, however, on August 28, 1964, while Acheson was informing the Greeks that he was leaving as a mediator, the King Constantine of Greece informed Papandreou of two national decisions. One, a proposal to the Turks to grant a base or bases in Cyprus the size of the British base and rent Castellorius of the island. And two, protection of the minority in Cyprus according to the Acheson proposals, and asked the Prime Minister to make the offer to the Turks. George Papandreou, however, disagreed and rejected King Constantine's plan. Regardless of how exactly the events unfolded, half a century after the wreck of the Acheson, the Americans came back with its new version and created the well-known Biden map, which is now in the final phase of implementation. In the book of Professor Theodore Kariotis, EEZ, Exclusive Economic Zone, it points out that the biggest problem facing Hellenism, that is the Greeks, is the attitude of the USA regarding the issue of co-exploitation, co-management of the hydrocarbons in the Eastern Mediterranean, as they are constantly trying to find the appropriate formula in order to assign a part of it to Turkey. This is exactly what the Acheson intervention was aiming at. According to the professor, Acheson's proposal was very carefully considered. The Americans knew that the island of Castellorizo is a key problem, but also a golden fleece, quote-unquote. They found out early on that without Castellorizo, Turkey would be completely cut off from the southern Mediterranean, as well as the rich deposits of the region, which they had since then assessed and planned for their division 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Exactly 50 years after Acheson, American diplomats returned to the issue and issued the well-known Biden map. Now, the Biden map, the prophetic Biden map by Marios Poulados, the map was governed by government cartographers and diplomatic energy experts under the direction of then Vice President Joe Biden from the State Department Energy Resources Bureau. Some of the key elements of the map are described in detail the southeastern limits of the supposed Turkish continental shelf, as submitted to the UN in 2020, except for the provision of the Turkish-Libyan pseudo-memorandum. It does not capture the East Mediterranean pipeline, but envisages a natural gas pipeline through Turkey, which is a constant request in pursuit of Turkey. Eliminates the influence of the Megastis complex in the EEZ, giving Turkey all the EEZ east of the 28th meridian that intersects Rhodes, an area of which Oruk Reis carried out illegal surveys in 2020. It was not included in the Greek-Egyptian EEZ delimitation agreement. or captures a cluster within Turkish territory, shows strong evidence of attachment of the possessed. And comparison of the Biden map with memo deleted for clarity with the illegal Turkish Navik survey of Uruk Reis and the Greek-Egyptian EEZ segment demarcation near point A at the 28th meridian. Similarities of the Biden map and the Acheson proposal. It's obvious that the Biden map assigns to Turkey the Greek sovereign rights east of the 28th meridian over the Megasis complex itself, just as Acheson suggested. The Biden map has indications of annexation of the occupied, which are more than obvious in Carpathia, as the said Acheson proposal also predicted, albeit on a smaller scale, but the proposal was made 10 years before 1974. It's also no coincidence that Turkey now insists on the two-state solution, which will possibly be a safeguard against annexation. It's clarified that the Biden map was disclosed to the Turkish President Erdogan between 2015 then 2017. The Biden map, annexation indications, red shading is the potential EEZ of the occupied no coastal zone, and circled in yellow imaginary corridor bridge connecting it to the coastline of mainland Turkey. The architect of the map in question, which is believed to have been drawn up in 2014 if not earlier, Amos Hochstein, reassured the position of expert energy envoy and most recently the State Department senior advisor for energy security. He's the same one who brokered the conclusion of the Israeli-Lebanese EEZ delimitation agreement. And in fact, as pointed out in our previous article, the Jewish Institute for National Security, JINSA, stirs up the issue of the division of the North Mediterranean and indirectly prejudges Hochstein's involvement in the mediation. Not coincidentally, a few days ago, August 8, 2022, the American The Hill published an article where it similarly proposed American intervention. An additional interesting detail is that the former American ambassador in Athens, Jeffrey Pyatt, after the end of his term, was appointed as the Assistant Secretary of State for Energy Resources. That is, he is now a partner of Amos Hochstein. Therefore, the Pyatt-Hochstein duo seem to hold the reins of the American interventions. We are able to know that Hochstein has already started his contacts with the Greek Prime Minister and other officials. What remains to be seen is exactly what American diplomacy is planning and how Greece and the Republic of Cyprus will react, although the predictions of the Biden map leave no room for optimism and complacency for Hellenism as a whole. So it looks like they're going to partition the Aegean and in order to, of course, start drilling and extracting oil and gas from the area, and from what they believe, it has more oil and gas than Saudi Arabia. So this I've translated for you from the Greek article. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.